gone through the first step of laying our groundwork on the canvas. We put some background colors in. I chose 3 colors. I chose ink spot blue, yellow flame, and lime sherbet sorbet. These can all be picked up. Let's see, the apple barrel paints can be picked up pretty much at any craft store. It is a craft paint, not necessarily an acrylic fine art paint. So they're relatively inexpensive, but I love the colors, and so that's what I went with. And the ink spot is a folk art, which you can get at some Walmart stores and other craft stores like Michael's and AC Moore, Hobby Lobby. So those are the main ones that I used. And then of course I have white. I started with zinc white, which is more transparent. When I first did my mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, and I later, before I did the Lotus, I used just a regular white to make it stand out just a little bit more. I wanted to have a little more emphasis on the mantra. And then I used a pink, bright magenta, also an apple barrel color, mixed with a little bit of white to soften it a little bit, to outline the lotus that I put on here. Now, I'm thinking about the next step, which was to bring, to look at the composition that I want to have on my canvas. I'll take this down for just a moment. I'm going to put this up. You likely are not going to be able to see this very well on the camera, but I did take pictures of each and every one that I'm going to put up in the video as well. So what I did was I drew out 6 squares because my canvas is square. And then I started to sketch in some ideas of how I might want my final painting to look as far as the composition goes. So for all of these, except for one, okay. So for this example here, I left the lotus on the canvas, and then bringing the face forward on top of that, allowing this to be maybe like the neckline below her neck. Okay, so her neck would come up here and her face would come in around here. To that I added a heart. I put in again the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, and then I put the pink flame up here. I also have an idea with this Kuan Yin painting that I want to have some butterflies, and so I have a couple butterflies up in the corner. In all of my sketches, I've noticed that I've left her eyes closed, mainly just because I wanted to do the sketch. And I can always decide later on during the process of finishing the face, I could always open the eyes up. And keep in mind that Kuan Yin is of Asian descent, so you'll want to have a little bit of a slant to her eyes. That's just something to keep in mind, and we'll go over that as we're further into the process. My next sketch here would require me to go completely over my canvas, because what it's doing is creating a bigger portion of her on the canvas with a smaller lotus in the same area, though, at the bottom center of the canvas. Here it's taking up most of the canvas like it is currently. But on here I wanted to bring it back to front and center with her arms open and enveloping, kind of cradling in a hug the lotus. Above her I put a tree branch with flowers hanging down, and that's a very rough sketch, and I certainly could develop that more. Maybe it's cherry blossoms. Cherry blossoms would be beautiful with Kuan Yin. I didn't do much with her head or hair or anything. I wasn't sure where I would go with it with this particular sketch, so those are more of like the end details, the finalizing. On this one here, again, the lotus is front and center but smaller, so I'd be going over the whole canvas, and an even larger rendition of Kuan Yin with the mantra written along the bottom and the pink flame here on her forehead. On this one, I didn't put the flame in yet, but my idea was to create the pink flame within the lotus. On this fourth sketch, I have a full figure of Kuan Yin off to the left-hand side. The mantra is along the right-hand side, written in a vertical way, so Om Mani Padme Hum. A large lotus here, off-center just a bit, so that you've got a figure on the left, the mantra on the right, the lotus kind of off-center here with some butterflies again, and then our tagline, awaken thy heart with divine love and compassion. I wanted to have that on the canvas as well. So now my choice and this next step is to choose which of these compositions I want to work with. And the great thing about doing these sketches is that after the course, if I am doing a painting on my own, I may go back and develop another one on a canvas. So it's a good idea to keep your initial sketches that we're doing at this step, because it may inspire you to do more paintings in the future with Kuan Yin. All right. So it's just a brief intro to what we're working with at this step. I also am putting some pictures onto this video that show you the altar that I set up for Kuan Yin. And I think I will move the camera around and show you on video as well. So this is my Kuan Yin altar that I set up. I have my love and compassion singing bowl here. This beautiful candle holder that I've had for many, many years. Lots of pinks and whites. A candle lit. I have a picture of me with my 2 children that was taken a few years ago. And as I discussed in the handout, Kuan Yin is a mother essence, a mother archetype of the goddess, and so I wanted to represent my children as well. My beautiful Kuan Yin statue, and this here is a bracelet that my daughter had made with my 3 grandchildren. She had put their thumbprints on one on each heart, so I've kept that. And then I've brought some various crystals out as well. I have rose quartz, ruby fuchsite, rhodonite, rainbow moonstone, a heart, and just some beautiful clear quartz crystals to represent Kuan Yin. I have another small Kuan Yin statue here, a goddess candle holder here, the goblet, which represents the chalice and the divine feminine, and just some other colorful things that I like. The small bowl, which I like to have on my on my altar a lot when I'm working with the divine feminine. I brought in the picture of the lotus that I used as a template for my painting and that I'm sharing with you. And then I've brought in my peacock feathers as well, because it just brings a beautiful light and reminds us about the beauty of the divine feminine energies. In the background, I have a painting that my son had painted for me that says, "I love my mom with all my heart, love you." And this was a painting he did when I first started to work with goddess energies and started to paint. And I've kept that all these years because it just reminds me of how special our bond has been. What else do I have? I'm representing butterfly here and in the string of lights that I got from the dollar store. Actually for my fairy gardens, but it's now on my altar. Just add a little sparkle and shine. So that is my altar that I'm working with while I'm painting the Kuan painting, and to help to bring her essence into my work area, into my soul, into my art. I look forward to seeing pictures of your altar. Thank you.